Well, gratitude in a lot of ways equates with hope. You need both to function. It's just part of who we are as people, I think. And very often in a day when I'm not happy or just having a bad day, I just start, you count your blessings, and then you're also grateful things that haven't happened to you. You haven't had a hurricane blow a tree over your house, or your power's not out for a month, and you're not sick, and so I think it's that kind of thing. And then there's always that hope that things will get better, and you're grateful for what you have and what you might have. So.
And that kind of plays into like the Cancer Association of Anderson. You've been involved since the very beginning and founded and all. How do y'all work gratitude into people who are in a really tough spot? How do you talk to them about gratitude?
I think that from my experience here, I haven't worked here as an employee for 5 years now, but from the survivors I know, you don't have to bring it up. People really are. They're grateful for their doctors. They're grateful that their cancer has been caught and can be treated. My own experience as a cancer patient is I really learned to be more grateful for even the tiniest things at that time, the things that you generally took for granted. It made me a much more grateful person. Well, I'm grateful to be at the place where I am in my life. You and I worked together at the newspaper back in the 90s, and just kind of coincidentally, the other day when Tom Petty died, a friend of mine, Lisa Bowie, who worked with us, sent me an email and said, I remember that column you wrote about Tom Petty, going to see a concert for Tom Petty in 1991. You ought to dust it off and put it on your Facebook page. And I pulled out a whole folder of columns I'd written, because I wrote columns about family life. And I have to say, I really cracked myself up reading some of the columns, because they were funny, and I was a good writer. But I also got this sense of how stressful that life was, with 2 small children and working full-time at a very demanding job. You never knew what was going to happen at the newspaper every day. My husband was very busy. There were times that we literally met each other at intersections and passed off children so he could go home with them and I could go cover a meeting. And reading those things, the humor was just almost to grit your teeth and get through it. And I'm glad I'm not doing that anymore. I'm glad I've got an empty nest, and now my children are dealing with it. So I actually made copies of a couple of the columns and sent them to them and said, I've been there and look where you're headed. So I'm 61 now. I'm happy to be here. I've got a wonderful husband. I've got great kids. I've got 4 grandchildren. My parents are still living and are healthy. I've carved out a 3rd career for myself as an author and speaker. I'm just really grateful for all those good things that have happened, and for friends, and for living in a community for 30 years where it's a good place to live. Anderson certainly has its faults and shortcomings, but it's a good place to live. So I'm grateful for all those things. And it's kind of like Christmas. It's too bad we only have to do that. I actually don't like the Christmas season very much because it seems phony to me. Thanksgiving is a more realistic holiday to me. I think it's interesting that that's a national holiday peculiar to America. But you need to be thinking about gratitude every day. We had a doctor on our board here, Chase Bailey Dorton, who was really big on gratitude journals, just having one write down 5 things you're grateful for every day. So I believe a lot in journaling, and if there's no other way that you can keep a journal than to do that, just get up every day and write down 5 things you're grateful for. And it may be the same 5 things most of the time, but I think you'll be surprised when you start scratching your head and saying, what am I grateful for this minute? Is it a good bowl of soup? Is it a beautiful day? Is it getting to see a baby smile? Is it that your dog loves you? And didn't leave you a surprise on the carpet? It's, it's the little things that mean a lot. We lost our dog this year too, and then I'm grateful we had her. I was not willingly made a dog owner, but she was a good dog for 16 years, never bit anybody.